I don't know if the word got out that we are doing, and the camera's here today, so it's not.
I know.
up there,
It's
whatever.
always somewhere different.
So, so I don't know if the word got out that we're going to be doing a technician, Ask a Tech, an RV Tech kind of live today, but that's why we have Cody here.
I'm here.
So we're going to wait for a few people to join us as I don't know, it's probably lunch hour for a few people. Maybe they'll hop on. So how you been, Cody?
Do what?
How you been?
Hot.
Hot.
It's been hot, but I've been good. I'm good.
Yeah. I don't know where everyone's watching from, but it's been just hovering in that upper 105-ish range.
Without the heat index 115.
Right.
Yeah, pretty
So-
toasty. Hey, we're getting a cold front next week,
Which
though.
means 100 degrees.
I think like mid 90s.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
94, 95.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I see a few people coming on. So welcome to Friday Live. And again, we have Cody on this week so that we can ask him questions on RV related things, whether it be maintenance or repair or equipment, things like that. So please go ahead and drop your questions in the comments. Hopefully they will come through and we will see them. There's John Roberts. Hey, watching from the moon. That's awesome.
With some emojis, I'm guessing.
He might have some questions on his oxygen system on his rig. So,
Took me a second.
yeah, drop us some questions and tell us who you are, where you're watching from, and stuff like that. Because depending on where you're watching, it may just come up as a Facebook user or something like that.
Happy Friday, Facebook user.
Happy Friday. So I do have to know if we, particularly in the southern part of the U.S., are facing such temperature issues. Are you seeing temperature-related things come through the service department lately? Like, are there more like check my AC or whatever?
I don't know. I don't think so.
No,
No, surprisingly,
they
not.
got that worked out beforehand.
Yeah, that's a good point, but no, I don't recall that I've seen or had a lot of requests for that.
When there are RV AC issues, what is usually required there? Where they say my AC is not cooling. What's usually required to check it out, and then what is probably the most common fix?
Well, I mean, checking them out is usually checking powers, make sure we have all our 120 volt, all of our 12 volt we're supposed to have, and then usually from there we go to putting like an amp clamp on the compressor, seeing where our amp rating is, see if it's in specification. If it's low and the compressor is on, generally that's going to lead us to believe that the system is leaked out the refrigerant, so it's which leads to
Thank you.
a replacement of the air conditioner.
The whole
They're
unit.
non-serviceable, so you can't. It's not like your car where you can connect gauges in a refrigerant machine and recover and recharge the system.
Oh, I was wondering if that was the case. Okay.
Yeah, so they're sealed systems. They're non-serviceable to that point. Now we do see capacitor failures, which are somewhat replaceable. Depends on if we can still get them. Some of the manufacturers have stopped production on them.
Okay.
As repair parts. So.
All right. So here's the question: in this heat, how much will the RV cool down?
General rule of thumb for your
my
RV air
question, too.
conditioner is 20 to 25 degrees below ambient temperature.
So let's just go with an easy number, 100.
Yep.
The best you can hope for is 80-ish. Which, you know what? I think
80-ish.
it's pretty common.
And that is also gonna be dependent upon other factors. Are you in the shade? Are you in the direct sunlight? All of that is going to play into that as well. Do you have ducting through your trailer, or is it just a straight cool down? All of that plays into the ability to cool effectively.
All right. And if you can only get down to that 20-ish degrees, then my next thing is add some moving air, because if you don't have air moving around,
Right.
ooh, stifling.
Get some fans. Yep.
Question: where's PJ and Lindsay? But yeah, so good question. PJ is out on a family
Trip.
trip And then Lindsay is actually in the building, but she's covering our finance office desk. So she's doing really important things today and holding that down. So in their absence, we're just doing our best.
That's the other reason I'm here.
Yeah, so I had to bring on someone with some knowledge because usually PJ holds down the logical knowledge into things, and Lindsay holds down the entertaining end of things, and I just play middleman. But we're doing the best we can. So hey, hope you have a great weekend. Thank you, Rex. I hope that you are doing great, and I think it's neat that you picked up a fixer-upper trailer recently, if I remember correctly, just as a hobby to turn into something. So keep posting, and I'll stay tuned. Anyone else? Questions for Cody, since we have him here? Finally made it. But your Facebook user, you got to tell me who you are and where you are because Facebook doesn't always tell me these things. So anyways, questions for Cody. Is there anything that you've seen people do when, let's say they're in the southern part and it gets hot year after year?
Sure.
It's just a known thing. In particular, and we'll come to that question here. So hold that one. My trailer, the front wall just turns into a radiator.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep on thinking I'll just turn the trailer to where that front wall is not facing west.
Sure.
For the evening time sun, the afternoon sun. But then my trailer has a rear ramp. It gets blazing hot.
It
so
does.
it counteracts my AC. Yeah. What are people doing? Do people do anything?
Shade. Gotta find some shade.
Add an awning on the front. Add an awning on the back.
There's possibilities for things like that. Radiant barrier in your windows. If you're permanently camped, Shade RV makes a product that goes on the roof to cool rooftop temperatures. There's just different ways, but there's no one like do this. It's really just about getting out of the sun.
Yeah.
Try to get, and if you're on a asphalt or concrete pad, again, it's going to be hotter than, say, decomposed granite or
sure
road base or something like that.
Well, people who are in place a long time oftentimes like add skirts and all that. Would you, in a hot situation, prefer airflow underneath or prefer to keep it enclosed?
That's actually a good question. I don't have a good answer for that. I would think enclosing it would still offer more shade cooling underneath the
And
trailer from
keep
radiating
cool.
radiating up.
Okay.
But generally that is a wintertime thing.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't have a good answer for how that would reflect.
Sure. I'm wondering if it would have an insulating effect. And for me, my go-to is insulation is insulation.
Yeah.
It helps you against heat and helps you against cool. So maybe it has an insulating effect. All right. So, yep, I will definitely tell them hi. All right, let's see. Road temperatures and tires. We were actually just kind of talking about this. Go ahead.
I had seen a report that Sid Miller was suspending truck inspections.
Who's Sid Miller? Not everyone's in Texas.
He's
he's like the comptroller or railroad commission head.
No,
something in Texas.
Else. Yeah, he's up there. But because of the surface temperatures, I think they showed our roadside. Just on the roadside were 146 degrees, the heat coming off of them. So unsafe temperatures for his guys to be out there doing the inspections on the trucks. So they've kind of suspended that temporarily until we get some cooling weather. So
right.
It's absolutely the heat is it's hard on your tires.
Yes.
You're going to see much higher temperatures in your tires than you would when it's not this hot.
So
which can lead to blowouts.
Yeah.
So definitely this is a good topic for tire pressure monitoring systems. If you don't have them on your trailer, it's probably a good idea to maybe look at investing something like that if you do plan on traveling when temperatures are this high.
So obviously you want good, let's say you have tires that generally are in good shape. They're not too old, no dry rot crack, no bulges or whatever, but you know it's going to be hot and you're going to be on the road.
Yep.
Are there any things that you recommend other than monitoring? Like what can you just, it's hot, this is what you do to reduce the chance of blowout?
Make sure you're at the proper tire pressure.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, let's not
let's
not add to it. Appropriate. I can't say. So
Is there a convention?
I always say to manufacturer pressures. We definitely don't want to be on the low side. The low side will always generate more heat
Because of the
if we're
flex.
right? Because we end up doing this
Right.
on the sidewall, which generates more heat, which will lead to tire failure a lot faster.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Blowouts typically happen on the sides, not so much
Not
in
necessarily.
the middle. No,
Not
Okay.
necessarily. So it's just going to be wherever that flexing finds a weak spot in the tire.
Okay.
Because your tread is actually going to separate. That air is going to move to an area real fast, which then blows the tire open. So
Okay, so in the heat, just stay on top of the tires first and foremost. Check it over and over again. Pull over, see how they're doing. So there you go. Let me see if I have anything else. Natalie, first time teardrop camper. Lots of questions. I'll keep scrolling, see if we get some from you. Here's one from Michelle. If we have our camper sitting in between camping, is it best to keep tires off the ground? If so, what is best to use? Oh, A-Liner Ranger 12.
A-Liner Ranger 12. So I would say that's going to be dependent upon how long it sits. So if it sits for, and this is hard for me to say because it'll be dependent upon the type of tire, you can get flat spotting on the tires, which will lead to irregular heat patterns when they go to warm up, which then again can lead to tire failure. So yes, it is a good idea if you can. There's a product on the market that I've seen. It's nothing that is like widely used. That was kind of like you would put them up against the axle out by the wheel, and then you like drive up onto it, and it acts like a jack and just jacks the whole thing up off the tires up off
At
the
the
ground.
axle.
At the axle, yeah.
Which is a question I was about to ask because it's an A-liner and there's a lot of trailers that have a similar frame. They're designed for stability jacks, not for leveling jacks.
Right,
so
exactly.
to get those tires off the ground, the frame may not be designed to hold the weight at the corners.
I wouldn't do it at the corners. I mean, if you really want to get your tires off the ground, you would have to go in, jack it up, put a jack stand or something at the frame close to the axle or to the tire. Let that support. I would still your tongue jack will create your third point of contact.
Right.
I would still run my stabilizers down to help stabilize that because you're still going to be sitting on a smaller contact surface than normal. So there's different ways to do it. There's no necessarily right way. There are definitely wrong ways. If it's unsafe, it's wrong. But I don't necessarily say there's a 100% right way to do it either.
Okay. Let's see what Chris says.
Yeah.
Hi, Chris from Pennsylvania here. I have a 2021 Rockwood High Wall 296. It has an electric winch to raise it up. I have had to replace once already. Is it possible to replace with a manual winch?
I don't see why not. Never done that. Never. I've never converted from one to the other, so I don't see why you can't. It may be a lot more work than you want to do with possibly the conversion as well as having to manually crank it. But the electric lift systems, they do fail on that stuff. So yeah, we've seen failures in them.
Yep. Forgot to mention we keep our camper on concrete in the shade most of the day. So that's back to
The A-liner.
right.
Okay. Yeah, this isn't really them being stored off of the tires is not really a heat thing. It's just about sitting. That rubber tire sitting in one spot for so long just creates a flat spot in the tire.
Yep.
That's not heat related. That is just time related. So
Okay. Do you install TPMS systems well?
we do. We do not do interior mounted ones, which means we don't dismount the tire and install it inside the wheel. We don't do that style. We do the ones that do thread onto the valve stem that can either run through a phone app or through a separate monitor that goes into your vehicle. It just kind of depends on what you want to use.
Some of our trailers are coming pre-wired for a system. What's that?
Yeah, so
system?
Lance actually has started using the TST system, which has a monitor. It's a pretty good system. Lippert makes a good one. ASA Products makes a pretty good one. I've had experience with those three that I really like. I think do a good job. One thing that I really like to look for when I do that is They may not specify it, so my personal experience is something that has a high refresh rate. Because if it takes a long time to refresh that data, you may already be into a problem.
Okay.
So you want something that's regularly updating pretty fast.
Sure.
Your temperatures, because if it's a 10-minute delay or a 5-minute delay, I mean you could have a tire deflation issue and then a blowout pretty quick.
Right.
Without
Right.
a warning.
Yeah. Thanks for the info. No problem, Michelle.
You're very welcome.
Kim, if lithium batteries are installed outside of an RV, will the extra high temperatures cause damage?
So as all batteries generally have a specified operating range. I can't necessarily specify damage. I would have to look at what the battery manufacturer says to that, but most of them will lose performance at their respective temperature operating ranges.
Yep. My solar panels are permanently fixed on the teardrop, I'm guessing. I worry about damage in transit or hailstorms. Is there something to protect them? Really thick blankets and quilts. I don't know.
I mean, nothing that I'm aware of. I think that's going to be something like search the forums kind of thing, see what other people might be doing.
Have you seen those blow up things people put on their cars? or
funny,
even
they've
mechanical
started
umbrella.
advertising that stuff more in this area recently.
Yeah.
We've had more hell, it seems like, but flexible panels, the hard mount panels, what we call hard mount, they're hard frame. They don't contour to the roof or anything like that. Really can take a pretty good beating without showing any damage. What you would probably have on a teardrop is going to be a flexible. It's going to be a softer shell. They're still pretty durable, but yeah, they may be more susceptible to a hailstone or something like that, actually causing some indentation or possibly permanent damage to them that may affect their ability to operate. But no, there's nothing I've seen or heard of to protect panels.
So I wonder if you've gone through a hailstorm, you may or may not be able to see like impact spots and all that. Is it possible for them to themselves with a multimeter or to bring it in and say, hey, can you test the output of this to see if this spot of impact has made a significant difference?
You could. I mean, most solar panels are pretty simple. If you can find the connections straight off of the panel, I mean, basically every panel has a specified open voltage. You're going to check for that voltage. If it's present, technically the panel would be operating as designed.
I don't know if you've seen anything like this where there is damage to a section of the solar panel, so it's still working, but it's not
may not be optimal.
Yeah,
nothing I've personally seen.
Okay,
so I can't say that.
Okay, and one thing you've told me before is solar panels, and back to our heat discussion and how hot it's been, is solar panels themselves. They also have diminishing
temperature based.
Yeah,
you bet. Yeah, the hotter the panel gets, it's going to come down in its efficiency as well.
Pretty significantly, if I recall. Which is why you, for your own personal setups, prefer panels that have a more shiny or silver bezel on it versus a black one, because the black.
Yeah, I mean it's going to reflect the heat a little better. I mean they're going to get hot, but I guess that's the nice thing about a rigid mount panel or a hard mount panel is that they are raised slightly off of a roof, so you can get some airflow around them. Whereas with a flexible panel, it's generally screwed down, glued down flat, and surface temperature is going to have major effects on it.
Yeah. All right, we need more questions, so go ahead and drop some questions in the comment section wherever you're watching. Hopefully they'll come through. I hope I'm scrolling through. Everything I can see has shown up here.
We could go back to the AC conversation. There was a conversation, so one of the biggest things is airflow, right? So there is a company, and I believe it's called RV Airflow. It is designed to help increase. This is for a ducted system. So if you have ducting through the roof of the trailer, this item can be installed, and it's supposed to improve the airflow efficiency to those ducts.
So the air conditioned air moves through the ducting
more efficiently.
All right. So you're not just wasting
Correct.
the conditioned air.
That's my understanding. I don't have any personal experience with it. We actually have a manufacturer here that I believe is installing it from the factory. The one thing that you do lose with that is if you have the option to open that
the downward
register where it blows straight
Right.
down, because when you put this device in, it blocks that
Okay.
option. So all you get is the airflow to all the other registers. But I've never read or heard anything real negative about it. I've done some research on it. It's been out for quite a few years now.
Okay.
It's just kind of really making itself mainstream, and everybody seems to like it for the improvements it makes. So, yeah.
Very good. Very good. All right. We need more questions or more comments. Anything that we can respond to, since we got Cody on this week for the Ask a Technician, RV Technician kind of segment. This where we just got here on the live. Live in Houston, planning to buy a 850 SC. Do y'all install rigid panels? Cody, take it away.
We do. The 850 SC, help me with that model, Clint. Who makes it? What's an 850 SC? There's so many
It's
numbers.
solid.
Is it a North Star?
I think it's North Star.
Okay.
Go ahead and drop in there to remind us. Sorry, we're drawing a blank on which one that is.
We do, if it is a North Star, and the only reason I bring this up is we generally are going to look at probably doing a flex panel on a North Star roof due to the way they're constructed. There's not a lot of
pop up from North
there's
Star.
not a lot of material there for us to screw into. Unless we go all the way through the roof and do a
like
sandwich brace.
Yeah.
The
Which would be
rigid panels
really solid.
It will, but
Yeah.
that is
It just won't look good.
it won't look great. It becomes a wind issue with the way a rigid panel will catch wind and pull out of the roof. So typically we would look at probably doing a flexible panel on something like that.
No,
So
not a problem.
Okay. I mean, yeah,
in
we
which
can
case-
do all that as long
Yeah.
as the customer's good with it. I mean, a pop up, we can go all the way through, and yes, we can do all that kind of stuff. Houston can do that kind of stuff if you're shopping at our Houston location. They
He's
can
looking
do
over
that,
his shoulder because our general manager
Houston.
for Houston happens to be in the room up here in Round Rock today.
I'm waiting for her to look back at me and say, "What are you doing to me?"
We can do it. We can do it.
So yeah, the guys there are good, and if they have any questions, they just give me a shout. But absolutely doable.
Yeah. If you want something super sturdy and rigid, that might be the direction you go. You just gotta.
Yeah, that would be my recommendation, just because of the way those roofs are generally constructed. We can't
Houston
get a
doesn't
good
have the
height.
850 SC in stock, Suann. Just so you know that. Okay.
We don't.
That's
correct.
So, all right.
Well, come visit us here. We'll be happy to help you out.
All right. Other comments and questions for this tech what are you seeing from the service side of the industry? Is this because people are camping right now? Are they finding problems and trying to line up service appointments, or is it kind of decreased until the fall when they're starting to wrap up their camping season?
So here's typically what I see in Texas is when Texas summer starts, people that are local to Texas don't camp unless they're leaving the state.
Right, which is
They slow
my
down.
MO.
Yeah, they slow down because they don't necessarily like to camp in the heat. So that's generally when we actually see our service ramp up, just for maybe issues they found in the spring. Or maybe they're getting ready to put it in storage until fall, or they want to get it checked out and be ready for fall. So it's just a big mix. We haven't really seen a huge drop in service appointments, so we're still chugging right along.
Cool. George, good to see you from North Carolina. A bit late, but what is the proper way to maintain lube slides on a 2020 Lance 1995?
All right, 2020 Lance 1995, that is going to be your Schwintek system.
Schwintek.
The proper way to maintain and lube that slide per Lippert is warm soapy water on your seals as well as your gear tracks.
No dry
No
lube.
lubes.
No.
No lubes.
Is that the one with the
They
worm
do
gear
not.
track?
It
that
is.
Okay.
It is. They in the last year or so have really started to kind of make that their standard for
They
their
just want to
cleaning.
dry and clean.
They do. So what they've seen in the past. So the whole system it runs off of amp draw. Motor runs and the system shuts down based on amp draw.
Amp draw.
Amp-
Amp draw.
amp
I heard
draw.
am draw. I was like,
Amp?
am
Sorry,
draw? Is
amp
this like
draw.
an Amway product? What is it?
So what
runs on
what has
Melaleuca oil.
occurred in the past is people will take bearing grease
Wow. Yeah. That's some nasty
and
stuff.
put that stuff all in the track. Well,
It
that's
attracts
way too heavy. It attracts a lot of dirt and grime, and it affects operation. And then an issue is being created where there was no issue. So, as far as the hidden mechanisms, blowing some compressed air down into that column. If you peel the seal back, blow some compressed air, really just to kind of get any dirt out, would be the only other thing.
Okay.
So, but that's it. They are really kind of told us, hey, this is what we want done. Don't do anything else. Once it's outside of warranty, I mean, you can essentially do whatever you want. But if you are within the warranty period, I would stick to those standards. That way, if you do have an issue, Lipper can't try to say, hey, you put this on there.
Okay. This is a good one. I think you're going to like this question. Can y'all integrate my EcoFlow Delta Pro with a solar setup already on the pop-up camper? I bet there's a way.
I bet there's a way.
I bet there's a way. I bet Cody's going to be thinking about it now.
I own an EcoFlow Wave, which is why he's bringing this up. I don't know in any other EcoFlow products, but I bet there's a way. We would probably just have to have all the equipment in the camper and really have myself and probably my
Matt, maybe?
Matt kind of go through it and look at how we can integrate it and build out the system as we've never done it. It just usually takes a little bit of us
Right.
back
It's a
and
puzzle.
forth and figuring it out. Yep.
I would submit that I've seen Cody and Matt dream up some pretty cool scenarios. So I would imagine so. 3,600 watt hour. Yeah,
Cool.
That's a good system, good piece of equipment there.
Yeah, I follow EcoFlow on Facebook, and there seems to be a lot of people have their stuff and they like it.
Yeah.
So,
They've been in the game for a little while.
they do.
So
They have been. Yeah.
all right, more questions, more comments. A few more before we wrap this. Make Cody smell the pizza that came in the door earlier and not eat it.
I've got a little bit of self-control.
Oh man!
If I knew PJ wasn't going to watch this later, I'd have me a plate right here and I'd just eat it while we're
scarfing.
doing it, But
This is related to unrelated. It's not really a maintenance thing. Some campers are starting to get the inductive cooktops on them.
Yeah,
What are your
yeah.
thoughts?
I think they're cool. You got to buy special
Right.
cookware to go on them, or they don't work.
I just don't know.
You-
I've never used inductive cooking whatsoever. So what's the
I've never
power
cooked on it.
consumption?
I don't know.
Okay.
I just
Something-
know that
something to learn.
when we've done some PDIs here that have them, they're like the cooktop doesn't work. I'm like,
You're using the
it's inductive. You got to have the right. You got to put something on it in order for it to turn on. Essentially.
right. You're not going to be able to go
Yeah,
like
you
this.
can't just put your hand on it and go, "Yep, it's getting hot."
And it takes a special type of cookware to
It
do
does, yeah. So you have to have something that actually works with an inductive cooktop. So
that. I have so much to learn.
it's kind of cool, but you got to take into when you start looking at more devices that are electric, your overall power consumption, right? So 30 amp camper, that's all you get to use. Your AC's 12, your water heater's 12 or 13. If it's running on electric, and then you've got some other things that are going to kind of be on, other things that you plug in. You have limited power availability, right? So you got to kind of pick and choose sometimes what you can run, what you can't run, to get through doing everything that you need to do, everything you need to do.
Yeah. The question is, do we have the 850 SC in stock? In Round Rock, it shows on our website right now, I saw the question come up, that we have two. in stock, and I would invite you to give the sales team a call so that they can give you details on those two.
For sure.
And that's just what I see on the website right now. So I do show two on the website. Let me get that closed and all that. So I would say, I mean, do we keep them in stock? We try to, but there are times when we sell and we're just waiting on the next shipment. But right
Truck
now,
campers have been super popular lately.
yep. Barb, you asked, just bought a 21 tag XL Boondock. Is there a way to hook up my external stoves as a 21? 2-burner Coleman. Not on. I think they just added the external.
I was going to say, when did they add that? The
was-
biggest thing when you look at some of these stoves, some are going to be made for hooking up to an RV, right? They're not regulated. So they run off of the regulator on the camper. A lot of your Coleman 2-burner stoves already have an onboard regulator. Generally, you're going to have to find an adapter kit. That regulator is going to have to come off, and you're going to have an adapter kit installed so it can run off of the
However, if it's more like a Blackstone or something along that type,
camper. Right.
they come ready to go either way.
Right, they may come with the
right.
adapters. Sure.
So what you don't ever want to do is double regulate, because then you have like not enough flow of propane.
That's right.
So the next logical question to me is, can you add an external fitting so that a Blackstone can be used?
Yeah.
To her
They
tag?
probably have a manifold under there that has the ability to add a port to it
be
or
tapped.
something. Maybe some of those are assembled so tight that we have to get new ones because we can't get the fittings out of them without stripping everything out. Because it's definitely where you don't want a leak to appear. But yeah, there's probably something that can be done there.
So Barb, that's the 21. I don't believe has an external gas port, but I am saying there's a chance.
I don't know when I can't keep up with when they make all the changes. So for sure.
Right. Great. So I get to buy a new Blackstone.
If that's a good thing, I mean, sure.
I want a new Blackstone too. So by all means, buy a new Blackstone.
Yeah.
It's on my wish list.
Or get something like a Tembo Tuscadle that's just a little cooktop thing, something like
That's
that.
a neat product.
Which packs down pretty small, a lot smaller than most Blackstones. But you do just have, and you got to have a bottle to screw onto it,
Right.
a 1-pounder. Or you can run it on butane. It comes with a butane adapter, and the butane cans are tiny.
Yep.
So another option there too.
However you want to run.
Yep.
Okay, I am not seeing any more comments or questions, and we're past that 30-minute mark. So I do want to thank you for joining us for this this live.
You're welcome.
And you too. Thank you too. You're getting paid in pizza slices here soon.
Perfect.
And everyone have a wonderful, beautiful weekend. Go outside if you can. Camp somewhere, and we will see you again soon.
Happy 4th.
Happy 4th of July. Good one. See you, everybody. Bye.